So we come to the end of the first module, the Look to Yourself module. So what I'd like to do is just take this opportunity just to do a little bit of a recap. Video 1, all around thoughts, all around our thinking and our self-awareness. Having that real understanding that our thoughts lead to feelings, actions and results, but also the way we feel can lead to the way we think, again would lead to the actions and the behaviours and the results that we get. Work on the skill of self-awareness. Really getting understanding, what am I thinking? What's causing me to think this way? Is it acceptable? Then video 2 was around self-talk, internal dialogue, the power of words. Just adjusting the words to I choose to, I want to. What are you saying to yourself? Be very aware of it. It's so powerful, this self-talk, this internal dialogue, especially when you're facing kind of challenges and adversity. The thinking tools, the foundations of the program. Please use them. Teach them. Like I said, you teach, you learn twice. You help other people. You gain a better understanding. See them. Impose that structure on yourself. Use them. That's the whole point of a tool. Use them to benefit you, to progress. Gets you thinking more deeply. Watch those states. Watch the self-pity. Watch the blame and excuses. And adopt this responsibility. The responsibility to respond to the situation, whatever that situation is. Know when you're pressing the buttons and ask yourself, is it acceptable? If I carry on pressing these buttons, where is it going to take me? Yes, it might give me an initial feeling, an emotional feeling that makes me feel a certain way, but remember the accumulation of neglect. If I carry on neglecting this responsibility and taking action, where's it going to lead me? Because in the end it's going to lead somewhere, and that day of reckoning will appear. And having the common sense really to say, actually, these states that I'm adopting, that I keep going into, are not going to take me to the place that I want to arrive. And they're not empowering me, and they're not making the people around me feel any better as well. And that's something to consider. And then the truth mirror, the one that I use every day. I've made it a tool that's applied every day. That's a tough one. That's a real personal one, where you look at your insecurities, your bad behavior traits. You know I'm lazy as a trait. As a behaviour trait, I can just fall into my comfort zone and I can stay there. I'm very secure. I feel like I've got lots of security, but where is that personal growth? Where's that edge that I'm looking for? Just to keep pushing those little tiny steps. Face it to fix it. You can address it when you face it, being very honest with yourself, that self-truth. And that's that mirror, you turn it on yourself. What is it I don't like to see in the mirror? And what am I prepared to change? Because again, this is freedom of choice. There's no tell here. There's never a tell on this course. Do it this way and this will happen. The questions will elicit your thinking, to get you thinking deeply about the tools and what is it that you want to change? What's the sacrifice that you want to make for the promise that you're going to give yourself? So lots to think about on the end of module 1. Take the time. If you really want to, find that isolation, go to that corner, grab that coffee, grab that cup of tea and have the tools, watch the videos again, listen to the MP3 audios if that helps, and really challenge yourselves. There's no right or wrong here. This is just a way. It's helped me and it's helped lots of people. You know, hundreds of people have done lots of my programs and just got them to think differently. The choice and the responsibility is up to you in the end. Taking ownership of it is up to you. Nobody can force you to do it. Life's going to get in the way. Nobody's going to come along and save us sometimes, so we have to look to self. So before I close this module, I'd like to introduce you to something called Strings of Steel. And this is around self-limiting beliefs. And It's a technique that I found and it's really resonated with me, and I bring it forth quite a lot in my life, and especially around the limiting beliefs that I seem to have adopted and acquired over time, and how they actually work and how you can start to break through them. So my story is, years ago I was petrified of speaking in public. Every time that something came around where I had to speak to more than 2 or 3 people, I used to get into a physical state. My legs started shaking like Elvis, and I just got myself worked up, and all the anxiety came back and all the worry came back, and it just, this limiting belief of mine just had such an effect on me in my real world, in my reality. And then one day my boss came along and offered me a promotion, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to be an area manager and have a team of managers to work with. And my boss was telling me about the job, and it got really exciting. Oh, it sounds brilliant. I've always wanted to do it. And then the final one was, oh yeah, and you do area meetings. And I was like, okay, what's that? And she goes, oh, well, you get your area managers together and you would do presentations and you do a meeting. And my limiting belief came back. My limiting belief just came forth, and I resisted. And I said, right, okay, can I go away and think about this? And she was like a bit taken back, really, because all of a sudden I was very excited, and then all of a sudden I'm sort of retreating back, if you like it. And it was just a bit of a shock to her. And I said, I just need to think about it, thank you. So I knew I had an issue here, and I went to my coach. I've got a personal coach. And I explained the situation, and he went, oh yeah, you've got a string of steel. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, oh, you've got a self-limiting belief that you've taught your way into. And we started to discuss it, and we did some coaching, and this came about when I was at school, and we were in class and we were asked to read. We had to stand up in front of the class of 30 odd people, and you had to read. Now, I couldn't read very well when I was younger, so I stumbled on my words, and I found it really hard. And some of the kids started laughing, and even a teacher told me to sit down and stop being silly, and that really affected me. And that was my first, what I call, string of steel. That feeling came about, oh, I can't do this. And over time, I started with my self-talk saying, I hate presenting, I can't do it. And this is where the strings of steel come in, these self-limiting beliefs. And they become so ingrained that over time, they become real. And once this was explained to me, I started to realise it created self-awareness. And my coach said to me, if you had a string of steel, if you imagine that wire cable made out of so many tiny bits of wire, but when put together so strong, how would you cut through it if you had a pair of pliers? And well, you'd do it individually. You'd cut through it bit by bit. You wouldn't try and cut it through. And he went, that's exactly what we're going to do with your limiting belief around presenting. He says, we're going to cut through it. So he asked me to put a small presentation together, one of my hobbies that I like, and he said, present it in front of me. No danger. There was nothing to fear here. And I presented. I was a little bit, oh God, a bit scared, a bit worried. And I got used to it, and again, and I repeated, and he gave me some feedback. He recognised the good things, but he challenged the other things that I was doing, but I was in a safe environment. And this was my first string. And then over time, I got more practiced, and then I presented in 2 or 3 people. Again, safe environment, taking little steps, breaking through this strings of steel, this limiting belief that I've got, and keep practicing. And then it was in front of a class of people, and then I've done, big seminars, etc., etc. And it's taken me time and practice, but I broke that limiting belief. I cut through it. And this is what I want to say to you at the end of this module. You can break through your limiting beliefs. It may take time. It may take years. But if you're aware of it, and then you believe you can do it, and you can take those small actions to cut through it and progress forward, it's a powerful concept. Spelling was another one of mine. Now, I talked to myself, I couldn't spell very well. I wasn't very good at English. Confidence was one of mine, where I just wasn't confident, and I worried about what people's opinions were of me, and I became somebody else in the presence of other people, so I was not authentic. So I really went on this journey and started to unpack it, and started to think these limiting beliefs are really holding me back, but they're not real. Now, some things are real. I'm realist. You know, I know that some things are real and are challenging, but if you keep going at it little bit by bit, step by step, cutting the strings, you can progress. You may never get to being an expert at it, but you can progress. And the comparisons with you, not anybody else. Sometimes I think, especially in the world of social media, we look for these models, which are great, role models, and they're at the top of the game. And then we put comparisons against it and say, well, I'm never going to be like that. So then we start to press the buttons and we rationalize why we don't take action. It's you on you. Call yourself out. That's what I say, and that's what I do. I call myself out. How do I get a little bit better? How can I tweak it? How can I cut through that next string? How do I do it? What's that first step? Do I get up half hour earlier in the morning? Do I drink 2 glasses of water to bring on that well-being and that health and energy in the morning? These little things. How do I change my thought patterns? What words am I using? So I hope that helps. Strings of steel, self-limiting beliefs. Believe in yourself, but take it step by step, and slowly and surely you'll start to feel better, you'll start to progress, you start to work towards things, and you can look to yourself and know that you can rely on yourself. You become more controlled, you have this self-reliance, your self-discipline improves, your self-esteem, your self-image, it all starts to come together, but it takes work. And it takes those little cuts every single day, and they become habits, which we'll talk about on another module. So please just really think about that and think, what's my first string that I want to cut, and how am I going to do it? So thank you for your time, your energy and your focus, and I will see you on the next module. Please take some time now to look through the videos, work the tools, immerse yourself in them and teach them. And this progression journey that we're going on together will start moving forward, and it becomes more and more exciting and more powerful. So I'll see you on the next module. Take care for now.